Hey, welcome back to Monster Gaming. Just a quick update here and then talk about something. Finally got to 211, just progressing, working on my defenses and upgrading my towers. This will be the first mortar. That'll be the age that I'm in, so making some headway there, working on a few other things. Um, Real quick thing about my crowns there. I did watch somebody else's video and it made sense. On the council, how you can get a bunch of crowns. And basically it is going in here and collecting and collecting and collecting. And there are different checkpoints here depending on how many you collect and some really good prizes. The last one that I collected was the 20,000 there. So I think I kind of got everything that you can get from collecting. But basically just opening up a bunch of packs, getting a bunch of cards, then going in and trying to fuse them. And yeah, probably in like in an hour or 2 hours, depending on how many you're sitting on, you can do that. I do have more slots, so eventually I do want to upgrade that and get some more counselors going up there. But yeah, I was able to get some good epics and things like that. So do that. Just open packs, do your dailies because you'll get a bunch of packs from a bunch of these. You'll also get packs from your season, wherever you end up here. I ended up there, which was fine. I got a few things from there and then just kept doing that, infusing my commons and uncommons over and over and over and over. Unlocked a bunch of stuff, and now I'm sitting on a pretty good amount of crowns, and I'm trying to not spend them too much for right now, but I'm sure I will spend them at some point. But yeah, so the reason I wanted to jump into this is that now being in Cold War age, I think global Cold War right there is probably somewhere around mid-game, maybe finishing mid-game. But I wanted to talk about the different nations, let's say in the second half of the game. We're just going to look at them real quick again and see what the best nations are, or what to consider now that you're in the second half of the game. So we're going to start with the Chinese real quick. So you get an extra citizen, which isn't as valuable as it was at the beginning of the game where you really, tied down to only a handful. Even with that recent update about 6 months ago or so that they gave us a couple more citizens. One extra citizen that's not going to do much. It will, but second half of the game it's not as valuable. Mercenary camp capacity +1. That one's not too bad. Definitely give you a little extra. Once you level up your mercenary camp, you'll see that some of the mercenaries there get really powerful. So I would say that that's probably more important than the additional citizen, to me. On most of these, I'm actually going to disregard the unique unit because I think that the majority of these units are going to be from the barracks. They're not as strong as the ones that come from the factory. So unless there's something significant, you almost want to ignore the unique unit. Almost. The last one grants bonus defenders a town center per age. That really doesn't do all that much once you get to like global age and beyond. Yes, there are defenders there, but it really doesn't do all that much with how much firepower people have attacking you. British, so the longbowmen, right? Archer. Archer, there's still good use for archers if they're really strong to like mow down some of the infantry. On offense, it's going to protect your tanks. It's going to protect your commandos. It'll protect your generals. Could protect your artillery, things like that. So the British having good range and some good damage there could be beneficial. There are other options, but this one you could consider because of that. Increases loot stolen during attacks +15%. That's really really good because that's every fight. So this would be for somebody who's intermediate fighting, or heavy. Medium or heavy fighting. You basically get the bonus or the benefit of it if you fight often. If you never fight, you're not going to get that extra loot, plus 15%. Now, if you're looking in the museum and in the council, there are ways to buff that. Actually, I believe there's a couple different places in the library that will help you, that will buff loot stolen. So you can actually magnify this. So the plus 15%, you could easily get to like plus 30% with other buffs that you can find. So to me, that's actually really, really good. Stack that with other things and easily plus 30%. That can go a long way. So if you're intermediate to advanced or in attacking, you're very, very active in the game that way. British actually become really good for sure because of that. Because the benefits in the library, the benefits in the museum, and the council. Some of those things didn't exist. Some of those buffs didn't exist 3 years ago. So now you have other ways to amplify that. All right, the French. They have the tanks. Not a lot of people use Chevalier or those regular tanks in the second half of the game. Heavy tanks and other like planes and things like that are used a lot more. Reduces time to train an army. There's so many other buffs in the game that you can get to reduce the time to train. That even like where I am, like they're training pretty quickly. So I think I have a couple things that are helping with that in the I think in the library and maybe the museum and something else. So that really, you even without being the French, you can train stuff pretty quickly. I was actually looking at videos from like 4 or 5 years ago, and some things were taking like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. No, they don't take that much anymore. So yeah, it's a benefit, but times are much shorter now with all these different buffs that we get. So that's not really an issue too much. Mind you, this is in the second half of the game. I know in the first half of the game there's not as many things, but that's fine. Increases maximum allied army size. Additional +3 in gunpowder age. Yeah, I would say somebody who's very active in an alliance, that is going to help you. So I think between the two, the second benefit there could help, but it's somebody who does world wars or somebody who's, fighting pretty often. So having that extra space could get you a couple troops extra, or maybe allow you to get like a bigger troop, something like that. So the French are decent, but nothing super amazing, but they're decent. The Germans are still very effective for people who fight and attack a lot, a lot, a lot. Duration of rally is doubled, reduces the cooldown on rally. That one is pretty good, but you'll notice that in the second half of the game, the what is it called? The bases are so much bigger, so it does help if you're trying to get from one side to the other quicker. You want to be a little bit more strategic on where you're telling them to go. There is some strategy there, but that's only if you're very active when you're in the battle itself, and you want to have that control. Some people don't. Some people kind of like have these 4 or 5 different areas you need to go to, and then now the planes are doing their thing. It actually becomes a lot to manage, depending on the type of troops that you have. Teutonic Fury, bonus troop damage after multiplayer victory, plus 15%. I think this is another one that is a really good benefit, but you need a victory to do that. So if you don't get a victory, you're basically not even getting that benefit at all. Versus there are ways in the game, like in the museum, in the library, even in the university, there's ways to buff your troops, and you can specifically target the specific troops that you use all the time. So let's say you do get some losses, you can still buff. You can still get buffs in so many different ways in the game. So this one is almost like you need to win to get the benefit. 15% extra damage is huge, and it works for everybody. But if you're not winning all the time, then you're basically getting nothing out of it. Unique troop is infantry. I still use infantry. I'm still with the Germans, but I'm trying to switch to something else because I know once I get to the next age, yes, they're pretty strong and you can swarm, but there's the defenses are so tricky now. You got towers, you got all kinds of different things that can really get in your face. So I think planes and things like that are a better focus than infantry. Greeks, very similar to the French with the tank. Like I said, most people don't use this tank in the second half of the game. So ignore that for a second. Refunds part of upgrade cost, 5%. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good one. Any kind of refund in this game is great because costs keep going up and up and up. So if it's a guaranteed every single time you're doing an upgrade, you're getting a refund. I mean, that's pretty good. I know some of the upgrades take 6, 7, 8, 9 days. Um, but even still, it's still a good benefit. You're going to be upgrading the whole game, even when you get near the end of the game. You're going to be upgrading, upgrading, upgrading. So it's something that you're going to get the benefit of throughout the rest of the game, basically. Instantly finish upgrades, general recovery under 15 minutes for free, plus 5 minutes per age. I forget where I'm at right now. I think I'm like age 8, something like that. So 8 times 5, 40, 100. That one's also not super. I don't know. And if you play constantly, it'll give you about 30, 45 an hour. I don't know. Instant recovery, like space there. But even that one, like you have to be present when that happens. So the benefit there is really, really low. So this one would be more of an economy benefit with the refunding part. The instant finish, kind of a toss up. You're probably not going to get the full value of that every single time. All right, jumping over the Japanese. Also, they have heavy infantry that's really, really good. But like, once again, you're not using a lot of infantry in the second half of the game. Town center shoots at invaders. That's fine. It's going to act like another tower. It really doesn't do that much damage, so it's not something that, yeah, you might be able to pick off some infantry here and there, but anything stronger than that's not going to do all that much. Increases the length of peace treaties. Once again, this can help your economy. There's some people that focus so much on economy here, where if you don't get attacked for an extra 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is, your farms, caravans, and different things like that could be producing for you. And it racks up pretty quickly. Like I've noticed if I step away for a couple days and I come back and I collect and, don't lose too much on battles against me, I can rack up a pretty good amount. So this would be for somebody who doesn't attack as much, who maybe plays the game a little bit more casually. Gives you extended peace treaties. There are ways to even extend the peace treaties even further, I believe, in the library. Um, and if you have anything that refunds loot stolen, it'd be a nice combination of, okay, you can attack me, but I'm going to get some of it back. So you're not only, you know, collecting a bunch from your farms and your caravans and your mines, but if somebody does attack you, you're still getting refunded too. So it's kind of like a win-win. You're not going to make as much as if you attacked, or as much as the British that gets that extra bonus there. Um, but it's not bad. I would choose this one more as an economic and light to medium active player. So not a bad choice there. If you choose any of the infantry, these guys are probably the best. Looking at the Koreans, this is the one that I might jump back to. I was using them before. Archers, like I said, they have their use to protect your meat shields, basically. Refunds loot after being attacked, plus 10%. So to me, that's really good, because I already have other things. I think at my council and my museum, I have something there that refunds loot stolen. If I magnify that with this, now I'm looking at I think I'd be over 30% refunding, which is massive. Once again, this would be for somebody either low to medium on how often they attack. So if you step away for a day and you do get attacked a couple times, you're guaranteed a bunch of refunds there. That's actually pretty cool. Helps your economy. The last one increases maximum war tactics capacity. That's a pretty good one too. War tactics, once again, it's giving you one extra one versus everybody else that's playing. Uh, as you level up your war tactics and unlock bigger ones, that's really powerful. There's some really powerful ones like betrayal. I can't remember some of the bigger ones, but there's a lot there that could benefit you, and that you can use in every single fight. And the refunding the loot is every single attack against you. So these are basically guarantees as long as you use that extra capacity. And the other one is passive. It's always going to be there. So the Koreans are actually looking really good again. And the last one is the Romans. The Legion, yes, it has more health, so they'll stick around longer. So not a bad troop there. Once again, but infantry really isn't really used much in the second half of the game. Increases maximum army size plus 10%. I think where I am right now, and I probably could go further, I'm at about 155. So adding another 10% would be another 15. So that'd be 170. So that actually gives you a lot more space there, and you'll see that a lot of the much stronger troops in the game require a lot more slots. So 170. So let's go back here. I just want to see this real quick. So 24. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so it actually let me use one extra heavy tank, and I think there's another one that will actually reduce my troop space. But I know a lot of people do like to use the Romans for that extra capacity. That could make a difference for sure on what you're bringing with you. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how many slots this takes. 11. Okay, so that actually be okay. Yeah, so you could take an extra howitzer. Nice. Yeah, so that's just what I was going at. I don't know if I really answered the question of what the best troops are. I mean, sorry, the best nation is for the second half of the game. But there's clearly a few here that don't really have a lot of benefits. They don't really stand out in any way. I would say the second half of the game, you really, really want to focus on having a really healthy setup in your museum, having really good counselors, progressing through your university, and progressing through your library, which actually I'm going to look in one more time, because now we have archaeology, League of Nations, and state of defense, or defense, sorry. These are the ones that I've been kind of picking away at. It's actually cheaper to upgrade the capabilities of these things versus upgrading the building itself for now. Obviously, you can do both. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to do for sure. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm considering the Koreans again just because of the refunds. Sometimes I really don't fight all that much, but I do have a pretty good economy going. So I was thinking that might be a good one. And then if I choose to use the archers will really help out with defending my troops. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. Maybe none of them really stand out because of all the stuff that we can do in the museums now and the counselors. The way that we can buff everything in a way. I don't think the nations are that different anymore in the second half of the game, which is actually, I think, very true to life. A lot of the nations are very similar in a lot of ways. Small little tweaks here and benefits here and there, but they're all very, very similar. I don't think any of them are super overpowered, and I don't think any of them are useless. It's really more of your technologies, how you develop them, and put the right leaders in place and things like that. So, yeah, so if you have any questions on that, or if you have any input on what you think, I would think maybe that a lot of people have changed their nation maybe once or twice by the time they get to the halfway point of the game, and then maybe one more time after that. But I think, I don't know, I've changed several times just because I wanted to see them in action and see the differences. Even the artwork differences is really neat for a lot of the buildings. They really do change, which is really cool. But yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.